Hey, what's up? I'm Al Cox. I play games, make games, and everything in between. And today we're going to be doing a director's cut game review of Snake Color Bump. If you like mobile games, I like mobile games. Don't forget to like and subscribe as I play and make mobile games. It's finally out. I've been working on this game for about 6 months. I thought it'd be great to just go through a bunch of different pieces while I showcase the game. The first thing here is the menu UI. I created this specifically because I wanted the player to be able to visualize how the game's supposed to work once they hit the play button. And having the snake move around back and forth took a lot of time, animation effects in BuildBox. The close event in the menu UI to move an image up and then move the other ball letters out of the way. Still, it's not quite perfect, but it conveys that message of how to play the game. Now, when you get to the first level, tutorials can be complicated. The best games you can just look at and you know how to play. That it's seamless. You don't even think about it, and that should be the goal always. You will have players who just don't understand. New players, people who don't generally play games all the time. On this first level, I was playing with so many ideas, and then the simplest thing occurred to me. You just write on the blocks the instructions of the game. First level here basically just tells you how to play the game. And then as you can see, I have it to a level complete. Most hyper-casual games have you playing from anywhere from 15 seconds to 45 seconds in Snake Color Bump. I made all levels about 3,000 pixels in height, so there is a consistent feel throughout the game. Once you get into the endless mode, which is available after you beat the game, those scenes are smaller. That's a different type of game. That's a game where you're just like moving fast. If you just want to play the endless, you can actually tap over here on the top left, and that will take you to a quick endless mode. You don't need to beat the game for it. So that's a cool little feature you get just from watching this video. And here in the endless mode, what I did was add all my favorite levels, shorten them, and then put them in the endless mode. You see the confetti falling from the top. I have a tutorial on YouTube on how to make that. Then you tap to continue, and here there's like some fun animation still happening. I also wanted to create a way that if you play the game enough to get rid of ads. Nobody likes ads. And if you get 100 coins, then you can remove the ads for free. The fun little piece is if you go for the coins, which are the rainbow stars, you have a higher probability of dying. So it's kind of like a mixed bag. After level 20 something, you will see an ad every time. I'm just building this into the game. I don't plan to make money, but I do think it's important to have ads. The second level, I made changes to this level right before the release, and I essentially just made all the squares smaller. Before they were just bigger. Smaller leaves more of a playing field for the player to either go around the objects and still try to figure out how to play. You know, this is just level 2. And I don't want to throw too much at the player. Level 3 is fun. Here, it is advisable to pick up a triangle and take it with you, as it can be difficult moving up. All the objects are set to a random timer to push out forward when the player gets close enough. Seeing the level 4 at the very beginning, I set that up in a way white ball objects actually waited until the player was within a certain distance. Because some worlds have gravity, other worlds do not. Some have more bounce. They're all different. Level 5, I've seen people play this and just not move the objects over, which is designed to move the objects over. However, BuildBox, if you move too fast, then your character will actually go through the object and die, and that's no good. If you go slow, you will be fine. It is disappointing that the collision detection and the player going through objects happens. This is a big issue when it comes to all game engines of like not having certain objects completely go through other objects, and BuildBox is no different. Level 6 is one of my favorites. You see these kinds of polka dots everywhere, and here I am giving you a chance to look and see where you're supposed to go. You want to follow the same color. The beginning of level 6 helped me introduce a cool cool intro to almost every level. I looked at every level and I tried to think of how can I make it interactive, and by showing you the level and having something happen to it is one of those ways to just kind of get your mind into the engage mode. Level 8 is very classic. I am very surprised that it took me late in the game to come up with this level idea. It seems like this would have been one of the first ones. It wasn't. When you're trying to think of ideas and make levels that you've never done before, the obvious things won't come around until you're just about finished with the game. I am very happy with this level. If I could do it all again, I would probably put this level somewhere in the first 5 to help the player understand the mechanics of the game. Level 9, spinning objects really fast. You also have to be careful because it will cause your character to fly over in certain directions, to the left or to the right, possibly getting you out. Also on the left and the right side, I have transform objects, so if any of the objects in the game are about to fall out of the screen, they instantly come back into the screen. And I've also done that with the rainbow star coins. Super fun level. I created this level originally and it wasn't moving. It just looked cool, almost like a checkered pattern influenced by a checkered board or a chessboard. Months later, it occurred to me, why not just have these objects moving? It adds an almost surreal effect to the eyes when you're looking at it. Still a pretty simple level, more engaging now that things are moving. Level 11. Here we have objects and they are all set to a wake up spawner for a character, and when that character comes close by, there's a random thrust forward down. This level is interesting because you don't need a shield. You can take a block that is the same color and use it as a shield, but then you don't have to. This is meant to play with that idea of using objects in the game to help you move forward. Sometimes it's not necessary, but later down the line you will see that it is very much necessary. This level follows the checkered pieces, and I'm curious to know if for you it slows down your phone. I just got a new phone, so my phone is pretty up to date. This was fun creating checkered maze to go through, and in it you can collect those stars. They're not easy to get to, and this is also a fun, easy, beautiful level. Just simple gravity coming down. Level 14, I wanted to use smaller triangles. At the end of the day, the big ones were a lot of fun to play with, and I had to keep it. Even coming up with this level, I wasn't sure what to do. I sometimes just pick shapes and put it on the screen and just move it around, and then this is what I came up with, and I'm very happy with it. The spike levels. So in this level, some of them you do need to move them around, and others you do not. So here you can see I'm kind of screwed, but if I just move carefully, I can go through the spikes with no problem. Now level 16, the idea for this level is pretty much the Wi-Fi signal on your phone. I was just trying to make levels, think of ideas and designs, and that kind of works. You can move around the objects, you can push them aside. They're big enough that your character won't go through them. Level 17, this is one of the first levels I came up with. All the balls originally start out in the middle and then they just slowly expand outward, possibly hitting the sides, coming back in at a slow gravity rate that isn't too intimidating. Level 18, beautiful introduction into the level. Here you will need to use the triangles. Well, I guess you don't need to, but I use them as this level has a lot more bounce going on, so objects just move around a lot faster. Level 19, this is just a maze and it starts off simple and then you can see it gets a little complicated. This was originally a lot shorter and then I just made it longer. It was really fun to do. Finding the right speed to have the walls closing in is difficult. I wanted to make it easier, not harder. Level 20, beautiful intro. You see 20 for a second and it is gone. This level, I just wanted you to be careful of upcoming objects. If you just try to move ahead in this level, you will die instantly. If you take your time, you will survive. Level 21. This is just a different variant of a level we played before, but here I just added all the different colors and angles. It's a great way to take something that you created before and remake it in another level. At level 22, I like the intro showing you the level and then kind of the effect of what to expect. Basically just balls moving back and forth, pretty straightforward. It's fun because I didn't come up with that idea until much later. Some ideas you just have and you're just able to quickly make them into levels and then just be done with them. And then the other ideas just they take a really long time to figure out, and that's okay. On level 22, I created triangles, and I wanted them to, once the player gets close enough to them, to start spinning and moving down the map, giving you the ability to sense that danger is imminent and you must move out of the way. Level 24, I really love the beauty and the structure in making diagonal lines on top of each other with different colors. Big triangle and you can push your way up. There's big squares that are difficult to move and will get in your way and kill you if you don't move the squares correctly. So I thought that was a fun take. This is probably one of my most favorite levels. It was inspired when I was living in Vienna, and there's a place called The Session, and this guy who's a famous artist, Gustav Klimt, and he made a poster for this museum that he was creating. The poster looked cool, so I kind of took those influences and integrated it into the game. Level 27, one of the first levels that I came up with. Here I knew I was onto something really fun, using objects in the game to protect yourself from other objects in the game. Just a great idea. Now, level 28 is kind of inspired by Keith Haring. He's a New York artist. He does a lot of people, but if you look not only at the people, but the background and the surroundings, you'll see like big shapes and little shapes, and kind of has a bit of influence from that. Along with amoebas, looking at things on a microscopic level is very appealing to the eye. Level 29, I wanted to add something spinning, moving, rotating, kind of like a fan. This way worked the best, being able to go through the level and still be somewhat difficult. Level 30, here I use paths. I believe this level is pretty difficult and kind of confusing because you don't know where everything is going, which is kind of the point. Level 31, this level is very simple idea and looks beautiful. It's just squares going back and forth. Once the character gets within a certain distance, the square will either go left or right, keeping the player guessing. This is similar, but with triangles, and instead of being in the middle, just located in random locations. You can see that there's transforms on each side, causing the shape to bounce back and forth. And when using a transform, I really enjoy doing multiple -1 as opposed to adding or subtracting, because when you have a -1 on the X direction, it just hits the transform and switches that negative to a positive, going in the opposite direction. It's a very effective way to use the transform tool. Level 33, I wanted to give the player an opportunity to be in a world where you have to move shapes out of your way, and you have to do it in a way that's not careless, because if you're not paying attention, you can easily get yourself into trouble. 34, this is probably one of the first levels I made. Here it's longer and there's more bigger circles. This was a very fun idea, and initially I wanted it to be that if you don't pay attention and you just move the ball out of the way, then you will not be able to beat the level, because you need to push the ball up accordingly to keep yourself safe. Again, also one of the first levels that I've made. Kind of looks like rain. This one's definitely inspired by rain itself. And I mixed the colors from friendly to non-friendly, friendly to non-friendly. That way it gives the player enough time to figure out what's going on and hopefully beat the level or die and have to start again. Level 36, here the biggest thing was having the stars in slightly a hidden way. Level 37 is pretty straightforward. If you go left and right, you'll be able to beat the level. However, if you start moving things around, you can easily find yourself stuck and then dead. Playing with the theme, this is easy, but be careful because you can hurt yourself. 37 was a fun one. I wanted to place the character in a world where there's a lot of snakes. Snakes that can kill you, as this is a snake game. And there they just follow paths. Here in level 39, I made things extra bouncy, as it's supposed to give the player some freedom to kind of play around and not be worried about dying, but then at the same time, you get too carried away with all the bouncing objects, you could die. 40 was a lot of fun and took time to get the right sequence. I wanted to have it so you can move the actual pillars out of the way if you wanted to, or the big triangles, but then at the same time, use your quickness to move away from the balls and get to the finish line. So there's multiple things you can do on level 40. 41 is very simple design, makes me think of some paintings, objects placed somewhat strategically, and just have to go slow and take your time. Lucky number 42 is probably the coolest level in the game. I mean, look at this. This is just so much fun. And of course, you can hit the same colored balls and be okay, but if you hit a different one, well, then you're dead. I had to find the right level of gravity and the number of balls that you have in the game, because something like that is actually intense on the phone, slow things down, making things look weird. 43, I wanted to give the player an opportunity to view this level more as a puzzle in terms of how to get past this level. If you miss the only area to move a block, you have to go back. So falling on that puzzle idea. 44, this level just turned out beautiful. Originally, the sizes and the shapes of the different colors were similar and almost brick-like, but just playing around with it and making some shapes smaller, skinnier, and the location, I was able to come up with level 44, and I'm very happy with it. Level 45 is an older level. The original premise was to move the character left and right. However, I found making the triangle smaller and then just allowing the player to decide how they wanted to go through this level was more practical. 46 is pretty straightforward and simple. However, if you're not paying attention to what's above, you could miss the sequence in which you need to move up and avoid the dangerous objects. 47 is a difficult level, very beautiful, and I made it by just thinking of random ideas and things that I thought would look cool, but not to overpopulate the level with a bunch of things. 48 is similar to 43 in terms of how to beat this level and taking your time and seeing where things go and where you can go. 49, I just had to make this level. These jacks looking items were a lot of fun. They look cool, and I had developed it early on in the game development process, but hadn't made a level. This one was dedicated to that. And then here we have the last level. This one I made it on purpose to be difficult. This is the last level. Very simple triangles all facing different directions, and once the player gets close enough, then the triangles shoot off in whatever direction they shoot off. And then here we have just basic congratulations, the game is over. My friend Alex helped me out with the music. That's his SoundCloud account. I also wanted to do a shout out to my YouTube page. And now we have an endless mode. I added some quotes here because I thought that'd be fun. The endless mode is a little bit more difficult. I have this white square will stop all objects and will only go away when your character is close to it. So it can make things a little bit difficult, but that's okay. This just goes on endlessly. I have a distance meter running at the top. That's all the levels that I've made. This game took a lot longer. I thank you for watching and listening, and let me know if you have any questions on how things are done. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.